1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's up, you guys, and welcome back to school. But don't worry, everything is cool. I'm your host, Julyssa, and of course, I am here with the boys, Steve and Brandon. Say what's up, you guys.
What's up?
And how y'all doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. You know what's crazy? I hit the finger guns, kind of. Did you hear about John Morant? Actually, you know what? Let's not talk about NBA or basketball, because you know what? Let's talk about Julie. What's on your mind lately? Because I feel like we've been talking about basketball a lot.
Have we?
I feel like we've talked about basketball a good amount.
But we're basketball fans.
Yeah.
True.
It's because...
But I feel like, I guess, okay, I more mean to say that I feel like the basketball talk is dictated by you and me, and I more so want to hear what's on your mind.
There's women in sports, bro.
I know there is, and I'm fans of them. Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Name them.
Name
every single women's athlete.
Yeah.
There's Serena Williams. There's, and it's controversial to put at number 2, Caitlin Clark. There's Cameron Brink. And they're not in no specific order.
He forgot Lisa Leslie, bro.
Wow.
In no specific order, I said.
Disappointing.
She's a legend, and he forgot the main one.
The bar is on the floor. I love when people say that.
The bar is on the floor.
This is how you should treat men. Treat them that they're always wrong, because they are.
We're losing our women audience every syllable that comes out of my mouth.
Every time you talk, every word you say,
I just imagine seeing a meter. I just imagine like a meter, like the longer and longer. But go ahead, Julie.
But girls, you guys like the boys, right?
I hope so.
I hope so.
You're here. Is it because of me? I appreciate all of you.
Yeah.
I like
if
to
it's
believe
because of me, I appreciate all of you.
Me and Brandon are allies, or at least we try our best to be. Yeah. I know we naturally probably say shit that
I understand that I'll never understand.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm media trained.
That should be a.
I understand that I'll never understand.
Do we gotta? I actually am gonna write that down.
Keep writing these down.
I'm writing shirt ideas, guys, and we have a couple of bangers in there.
Meat vegans is my favorite.
Meat vegans is one of them.
Ethical yaps. I love
ethical yaps. I put the dark woke actually as one of them too.
Really?
But like it'd be like a scenario.
I feel like that's a cornball. That's kind of a cornball.
No, but it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't say the dark woke. It would be like a scenario. You ever seen those, like, let's do Satan rituals, and it's like kids holding hands? You know what I'm talking about? Or like let's unlock the blob, and it's like kids like with like keys. You know, it'd be like a scenario like that. It'll be like, I don't know, like Tesla's getting blown up, and it'll be like it'll be in the genre of dark woke situations. It's possible. Not implying that that's what you should do legally. Just saying that's what people do, and that's a concept. And you can't sue me because that didn't actually happen, and I'm not encouraging. And I am represented by the Los Angeles City Council attorney of Barbara Walters, and you can't sue me.
Who?
Exactly. But what was the idea?
What was what idea?
Is it gone already, guy?
Wait, but I don't know what you're
writing. The shirt.
Oh, I
understand that I'll never understand.
I understand that I'll never understand.
Our cornball merch.
Julie, you know what? I'll pose a question to you that I actually have been pondering. Do women want to hold their man's genitalia while they pee? Is that a real thing? No judgment here.
I have asked my boyfriend that. I'd be like,
my girlfriend has asked me.
Can I hold it while you pee?
Your girlfriend or your no?
No.
Really? I wanna know. I'm just curious.
Literally what she says bar for bar.
Don't they have those things for women that you can
It's
put
not
like
the same, bro.
Oh my God.
It's not the same.
I was just giving solutions, man.
But I wanted to ask, I was like, is that just my girlfriend or do all women ask that question?
No, I've asked my boyfriend. I've been like, but I did it jokingly.
Okay. Hear me out.
I mostly just said it jokingly.
He was like, yeah.
No, he didn't. No, he was like, no. He doesn't want me to be in the restroom when he's in the restroom.
Valid.
And I'm like,
valid. He has a psycho idea.
But why are you uncomfortable with me going in the restroom with you while you pee?
You specifically?
No, like men. I'm asking the men in the
room.
room.
Wouldn't have anybody in the bathroom while I pee.
Why?
I don't know. Why do you want to see me pee? Is that a kink or something? I feel sexualized.
Do all
You
women
feel
have?
you feel sexualized?
You asked me. You asked me.
I just see the meter of women I'm following going higher and higher.
So
dude.
I have to let people watch me pee. That seems.
But it's your significant other.
sounds like a perversion.
Sounds like you have-
I think if you're down, if you're cool with that, I don't think there's a problem with that. But that doesn't mean I have to be cool with that. You know?
But why aren't you cool with it though?
I don't know. It just feels
Why
weird.
are you actually not cool?
It
with
feels
it?
weird. It's like dirty.
It almost
It's
feels
dirty?
misogynistic
It's
that he believes that.
dirty?
I think I'm a germaphobe.
You guys act like you guys don't have sex already. Like
What?
you guys act like you already don't see each other naked.
Yeah, but we don't see each other defecating. There's a big difference, no?
It's about consent, right?
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm asking. I'm just curious.
Why is the pee thing?
Like why?
So
why
it is
don't you
big.
want
I'm
to?
glad I asked. I knew it.
Like why don't you want to?
I don't think it's big. You're just like, what's wrong with you?
It is big. My
See,
my
why
girlfriend
don't-
would be the same way.
What did you tell her why you didn't let her in the restroom?
He did, though. That's why.
I didn't though. I didn't. I said maybe one day.
He's saving face
I
for the
said
camera.
maybe
I said
one
maybe
day.
one day she can hold it while I pee, but I don't know.
When he's really, really drunk.
When he's drunk. No, he has to be sober to consent.
I said basically on my
That
deathbed.
is hard though, cause like I feel like that is inappropriate for her to do that when you're drunk though.
That's what I'm saying. But I told her maybe one day, and I don't know. It's my private time, right?
Yeah. I
I
don't know.
I guess this is getting more personal. But like I've seen my parents do it. Like they share a bathroom. It's a big bathroom. Sometimes someone's on the toilet. Someone's using the restroom,
They're
and they sort of
married,
just
though.
walk in.
I
I
think
know
it takes
that's
time.
why.
They're married.
It takes time. Like I said, Sunday.
I guess.
I think this might be a gross generalization, but I think women go to the bathroom together a lot, right? In groups. I've never gone to the bathroom with the homies. Be like, bro, get in the stall with me. No. If anything, it's like a male culture to be like, bro, why are you in the next over urinal next to me? I genuinely be like, bro, get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to.
I
pee.
think that's an interesting thing that you guys don't like being right next to each other.
I don't know. It's just like, bro, get away from me.
What does that mean? What
Well,
does that
I don't know.
say?
For me, I'm claustrophobic in general, so I'm just like, bro, get off me. Like, what do you?
For
Sure.
me, I feel like some guys just be doing too much, and like I have this weird subconscious fear of they're just gonna be like dick grab and just grab at my dick.
I've never thought of that.
Hey, that's me, bro. That's me.
I just like my space. For being real.
I have an irrational fear of I'm gonna get violated by these dudes. I don't know why. I just don't trust.
Oh,
random
you don't
dudes.
feel safe by men?
Even
a
men,
man?
even men don't feel safe by men,
And
That's
how do you
actually
think
true.
I feel?
That's
and
actually,
it's true.
hey, nobody said.
Nobody said multiple things can be true at the same time.
What's that fallacy called? I
I,
don't know. We gotta educate ourselves on fallacies.
even that's why, like, obviously women are afraid of men, but men are afraid of men too. So if you're a man, give the grace to the women, because if you're afraid, just imagine if you were a woman, which
Yeah.
sounds actually crazy
That's
to
all
say.
I'm saying. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
That sounded so like that came off a little
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
crazy.
saying.
Yeah, did it? I didn't.
I just said if you yourself are afraid, just imagine being a woman.
What's wrong with that?
I guess it just was like, just imagine yourself being a woman. Just sounds like I'm saying it derogatory. You get me?
I guess. No, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it derogatory.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
I like your pen, by the way, bro.
Thank you.
bruh.
It's pretty cool.
It's the one from Pocahontas.
Is it really?
She was 14 when John Smith showed up.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
And he lied too.
Wild.
He said some bullshit about how like it was like romance, but he really basically just abused her.
Yeah.
I went to school, unlike some of you motherfuckers out there who
Yeah,
didn't go to
that's
school.
crazy.
Actually, no. Anybody who watches us, you guys are educated and cool. I mean, like outside of the sphere of people who
I
watch
don't even
us.
think. Yeah, I feel like I'm surprised. Like of all the movies that, because you know how have you ever seen like how Disney movies will add like a disclaimer now, be like, oh, this was made in like the 20s. Nobody knew it was wrong, even though everybody did. I'm surprised they haven't put one for Pocahontas. You know what I mean? Considering she was 14, like
When it happened.
yeah, like
Because I mean, I remember I watched it a lot because I really liked the songs in it.
yeah,
Like Color of the Wind goes off.
yeah,
Because it's her telling the white man, like, this ain't your land, bro. But it's like overly it's like overly romanticized.
No, for sure. It's a Disney movie.
And so like I feel like that's always been like my conflict with it, is that I really like the movie because of the representation of it.
I get you.
But it's like the history is just horribly wrong. And like,
I was wrong. She wasn't 14. She was 11.
Damn.
She was a baby, man.
Yeah.
It's I guess it's weird because it's kind of like another movie that I fully will say is not accurate. Is not an accurate representation, not historically accurate, and is an insult to the native and indigenous communities. But I feel like the fantasy of it is interesting. Is Apocalypto? Like I think that one is another one that's like people enjoy that movie for the story, like the story in of itself, in a vacuum, like what it is, the adventure of him like saving his wife and his kid, and like the revenge story. But like obviously when you look at it past that, like obviously it represents natives as very barbaric. It's also just not historically accurate. Like a lot of the shit that they show just isn't.
Well, it's interesting because I was telling you guys off air that I'm reading a book called Indigenous People's History of the United States. You guys should read it. If anybody wants it, it's a really good book. And the beginning chapters of it are kind of talking about like what the indigenous kind of a little bit of the history before like pre-colonial times. Yeah. And one of the things they talk about is like how sacred the crop of corn was at the time, and how and well they viewed it as a gift from God. Yeah. That corn, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the archaeological findings of corn is that its origins are in the Americas, and it hasn't been really found anywhere else before that. But they were talking about how corn is actually a very delicate crop in the sense of it needs to be watered. Like it's not a drought tolerant crop. Yeah. So the natives at the time had to have a very advanced agricultural system to take care of it. So I think stuff like that I think was interesting to learn about, because it's like you said, I think it's painted a lot of times that they're barbaric and didn't know anything. Yeah. But that's not true. It also, and like I guess in addition to that, it talks about how the Americas were very populated, like 130-ish million people. Shocking to me. I didn't know there was that many. I think
it seem like I guess history makes it seem like it was like maybe at most like 20,000 in the thousands, right?
Yeah, right. That's what I thought, or maybe like 1 million, like maybe. But 100, that's like a third of what the U.S. is population right now. Like that's crazy to me. Yeah. And they talk about how it's because of their agriculture that their diet was actually extremely healthy because it was like squash and beans and corn, which was all it provided like an essential nutrient. Yeah. So they lived a very healthy life. And then they also had like advanced surgery and dentistry care, and they took baths, which is actually a big deal in history, because that's how they avoided disease. And they were talking about how like some of the conquistadors that would like write about them, they would talk about how it was like they were shocked that they would take baths every day. And it was instilled from childhood to go take a bath before you got dressed. And they were like, "What?"
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Yeah. I think you mentioned this before the show, but in case to clarify, so they would the reason they showered, or not showered, I keep saying showered, but it's a bath. But the reason they cleaned themselves often, was it because it was ceremonial, or
so they talk about how some of it was ceremonial and then some of it was just like culture? The culture like thing.
Interesting.
They talk about how I think in Mexico there was a specific type of like a specific type of practice. Like it was called a sweat bath. That it was in Mexico. It was like a ritualistic thing.
Sounds like a sauna.
Yeah, kind of like that, I think. But they talk about how like some of it was cultural and some of it was like a belief, but
ceremonial.
Like in retrospect, it helped to really keep the population free of disease. So that's why when the conquistadors and all the settlers came, they introduced all these diseases that the poor, unfortunate, like just unfortunately that the indigenous people didn't have immunity to. Yeah, which crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, it is crazy. It's funny though. It makes me think about like dirty people who are in our community and I mean like literally dirty people who don't shower and shit and smell. I'm like, bro, you're disrespecting our ancestors. They love to take a bath. Take a bath.
I've always when I always hear stuff like that though, I am always curious as to how different the world would have advanced.
Oh, for sure.
With the way, because I always feel like every time I learn about how like the natives used to like live and like how they were already highly advanced on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm always curious as to how the world would have seemed like.
Yeah.
Because I the way I imagine it is that it is more directly like used on like the earth, and like it's a little more like I don't know, like
Oh yeah,
I see a lot more nature.
Well,
like,
yeah,
like
they
naturalistic.
talk
Yeah.
about it. Where also I forgot to mention was they had a lot of herbal medicines.
mhm.
So they had a lot of like things in place that benefited the society to be very healthy,
Yeah.
which is what aided the population to grow like to 120 million or so.
Yeah.
Which again, mind blowing to me. I like they make it seem like there was like 100,000 people
Yeah.
at most, like
Yeah.
maximum. And then they go on to talk about how like there was advanced like communications between each other.
Mhm.
So I didn't know this. I had always wondered like if the Aztecs knew about the Cherokee or like
Yeah.
the people up north. Yeah, they did. Like, and they would trade like regularly.
Mhm.
They're talking about how for the Aztecs, turquoise, I believe, it's like a mineral that was their like I guess money at the time. Money. It was their like it was significant for them. And they find that like all the way up in Canada. They find it like on the shores too. So they find seashells and stuff like that. Stuff that was culturally significant to each different population, which again, interesting. Because I think for me, a lot of the stuff that gets neglected, or that at least maybe that is missed or isn't talked about enough, is how advanced they were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they talk about, I forget, but one of the societies in I think it was maybe the Maya. I can't remember. I have to look at my notes real quick. But they had the most populated city on the planet. Only second, I think, to China at the time. Which again, like you said, I didn't know that. I thought it was just like maybe like one or two guys, you know. But I think, of course, they have to leave that out, right? Because then it adds to the fact of, oh shit, they really was a genocide. Because how does 120 million people just vanish?
Disappear.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, well, I mean, there's a genocide.
Yeah.
Well, what's crazy is that what I wanted to touch upon on that is that people do give this idea of all the natives were barbaric, and so when the Europeans came, it was just so easy for them to then overthrow them and kill them. But there's also this other book that was recommended to me in college by my professor when I was asking, like, how could this advanced society have just, like, disappeared? And he said that there's this book called, I think, Germs, Guns, and Steel.
Yeah.
And it talks about that the Europeans, the Spaniards would have lost full-heartedly the war if it wasn't for the germs, basically.
Yeah. Well, they also mention it too, right? Where they only briefly talk about Mexico because it's more like the United States area, but they talk about how like the Mexican or what is now Mexico and Guatemala, those people were very influential to the indigenous people here. Like they were very like influential, right? And so they talk about briefly like the Aztecs and all that stuff, and they bring up how if it wasn't for Cortez like recruiting the other like smaller, I guess, populations to revolt against the Aztecs, because they talk about how at the time the Aztecs were kind of oppressive to other societies, so they kind of teamed up against them. But they say that if he hadn't done that, there's no way they would have won, just because feasibly it took too long to get all the people there. And it also didn't help because the Aztecs were kind of like, the people forget, the Aztecs were already kind of like on a decline before that the society was experiencing like a lot of revolts by the peasant class.
The rival.
No, just the peasant class, and then the rival quote unquote indigenous peoples. They were talking about how like at the time Montezuma II had just taken power, and he was about to like reform the whole, or it's like implied that he was about to reform the society, but he never got the chance because then Cortez showed up like right after.
What an insane like human history. Who was it? I think was it Neil deGrasse Tyson who said that he thinks the most important moment in human history was when the Spaniards met the natives here,
because they were separated by an ocean. So we could have. It was like the species
What an insane, I guess, moment in human history, and I guess to hear that like he was just about to reform, and then obviously the Spaniards arrived. Like I just think that's such a mindfuck. It feels like destiny, but like not in the sense that like I feel happy about it, but just like that's crazy that like, and then colonialism, rise of the history of humanity
Yeah.
from that point on, literally from that one single meeting.
Yeah. They talk about how the Aztec Empire was kind of short. Like it didn't get a lot of. It wasn't long. I also didn't know, at least according to the book, that what it was considered the Aztec people immigrated from like the Utah, Colorado area. That's pretty, like, we have a map right there. That's like in the middle of America. I don't know. I thought they came from the south up, but no, they came down, which again, mind blowing to me.
Which one is it? The orange one?
It's Colorado. Okay, so Utah is the yellow one right there, and Colorado is the orange one.
Okay.
So they came. It says they came from around there, or they immigrated from down there. So crazy to me. I thought,
and a lot of Mexicans stay in Colorado.
I'm gonna label that.
Yeah, we gotta feel that out.
Well, if they also go on to talk about how like some of California and even like further north was considered Mexico and the Aztec Empire. So like I guess from our perspective or my perspective, it seemed shocking, but I think that's because like the propaganda got to me.
Just drawing it. Draw the actual.
I want to get like a map that actually shows like where they're from and stuff. But really,
if you don't find one, make one.
Yeah.
Make it.
Oh yeah.
Make
if
it.
a book that you
Sharpies.
If there's a book you want to read but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it.
And people say that about music artists. Always say that shit too. They're like if there's a sound out there or a genre that you feel like you're just waiting to be a fan of, then why don't you start it?
Yeah.
Make it yourself.
Yeah. I also had recently I think it just popped up on like my TikTok.
Yeah.
About, I don't know if you guys have ever heard about somebody named or like somebody that's usually called like La Malinche. I think that's how you say it.
I think so. I want to say that sounds familiar.
But it's basically like it originates from that thing that you were saying that when it was like an indigenous woman that what's his name? Cortez?
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Hernan
Cortez.
Yeah.
Like he recruited somebody and it was like he used her so that like she could basically like get people.
He could create an insurgency.
Yeah.
Well, they talk about it too in the book that like it's kind of like an added like note that they didn't go into too much detail, but this is just my interpretation of what they wrote in the book, which is that they obviously probably tricked the other native colonies and groups.
Yeah.
Because they talk about how like the true motivations of Europe and the Spanish were never communicated to them, which was like a genocidal like ethnic cleansing and they wanted to take over. They didn't go into detail. Maybe another book that's specifically on that probably would have went out. But I assume they probably just sold them like like the Aztecs, man, they're just bullies, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know. So but then they left out the
like
part where they want.
Yeah, like the one, and it's funny because we're talking about Pocahontas. In that one, they also say that she was 11 years old and like he recruited her and like basically he enslaved her, but then he like ended up using her to like basically recruit the natives and be like, tell them this, like say this to them. Yeah. And that like now in modern times they use like I don't know if that was her actual name, but it derives from her name. 'Cause now people are saying that that's how currently in the state that we are with, especially with like people being Latinos for Trump. Yeah. And they're like, oh, like he's trying to get, you know, Latinos to be on his side so then he can start recruiting the people who aren't on his side. Yeah. And so then people are starting to bring back that basically the name of being like these people are like the La Malinche because like they're being what's the word, like they're manipulated into thinking that he's for them, but in reality he's not. And I thought that was crazy because like because I had always heard about that name, I just never knew who she was or what it was about. And not until recently it came up on my TikTok where like somebody was like, I never knew what that was, I'm barely learning about what it is. And it's about like a girl who basically like he basically kind of enslaved
Cortez.
Cortez is like took, and then I think it was Cortez because I don't think there was another big Spaniard guy.
I think it's also saddening because like I said, I'm surprised out of all the movies that Disney includes like a little disclaimer in, they always leave out that Pocahontas was 11 and that I just read right now she died when she was 20. Yeah. In the movie, they make it seem like that's how old she was when they met. Not the case. But it's also like you feel for those people, right? Yeah. Who at the time they were just they're children, right? Yeah. And what could they do? These you know these big scary men who had horrible intentions. They had no choice, right? You know, and I think that's what the book is also getting at is like I think people kind of in retrospect, give those people who like sided with Cortez like a bad like light, like, oh, how could they have turned on their people? But they talk about how like, no, and I think that's what's important about like reading these kinds of things is history is full of context, right?
Yeah.
Full of nuance. Like that's happening now, dude.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
there's people like there's tons of context, there's tons of nuance. Like the Aztecs were on a decline, they were kind of oppressive to the other peoples around them. And then Cortez used that to his advantage. The people were a very healthy people because of their diet and their advanced medicine practice.
Yeah.
And they show up and basically caused a pandemic that wiped them all out, you know?
Yeah. And they were saying that because there's because I went more into it just to like learn about her, because I was like, is she like, was she real? And I'm assuming that she was like real and that was her name. And a lot of people were very like, some people were attacking her. Like some people were like, she was a horrible person, like she was this bad person. And then there was this other side where people were like, she was just trying to survive. Like she's just a child that like, you know, got taken from her family, and like all she wanted to do was just survive, because if she didn't listen to him, he would have probably killed her, right? Like in the end, it's just more of, it was just survival for her, and it's all she could do. Like it's not ultimately all her fault, because in the end, like she was just a child, and what could she do, you know? Like all she could do was just listen to him, because like, or else she would have died, you know? And I think and that's in like what you're saying, is that there's a lot more to it, you know? There's a lot more of to like why they gave in, right? They wanted to survive. They saw that they were dying out and like they were losing the battle, right? So what way in they just felt desperate, right? And you see that in history, right? You see that in the way we've talked about in the past things that have happened, where people feel helpless, where the economy is going so down, and people look up to this one guy who like swears, they want, they're like, oh no, like I'm gonna help you guys, and but in reality he's just using them, right? And so in that way, like it was just interesting to see the different sides of it, where people blamed them, or like how you said there was a group, but in this specific instance it was just her, where they blamed her and they were like, oh, like how could she do this to her own people and all these things. And then it was interesting to see the other side of people being like, no, like she was generally just trying to survive.
Well, I also can't imagine what it's like to, well, because they didn't mention in this book, but I've seen like a few documentaries or just briefly in passing, where they talk about how, well, on one hand, there's these people fighting a war against like an invading like body, right? And then they're also a ravaging pandemic going on around them that's killing them left and right. What was it smallpox? It was smallpox, right?
I think so.
It was smallpox that they just had zero immunity to, right? And it wiped them all out. So like to go from, I don't know, I can't imagine like that kind of. It's like an alien invasion, like
quite literally.
It's like an alien invasion, and the aliens are all sickly, and they give you this disease you've never experienced, right? You know what I mean? And I think it's lame, you know.
And I think
to put it lightly,
and I think the whole, maybe Disney doesn't acknowledge it because then they would acknowledge the genocide, right? I think they would be like, yeah, like this generally happened, and it's a horrible thing that happened.
It's not funny, but it's interesting that they made that movie in the 90s, because you would have thought that, like, I don't know, even in the 90s you probably shouldn't touch that.
You know what I just learned too that was shocking to me? So you know how at the time of this recording, that senator, right, he broke the record for the longest filibuster, right? And before him it was Strom Thurmond, who he had 24 hours. I think the current one is 25, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong.
25 in like 5 minutes or something.
So there's this guy I follow on TikTok. Again, I'll pull him up right now to credit him. But he talks about how before that, Strom Thurmond was doing that against and in protest of the Civil Rights Act, right? So not a very pretty like filibuster, right? To be protesting that. But he goes on to talk about how Strom Thurmond was reelected in 96, and he stopped serving in 2003.
Damn.
Which, like, that's why I think the context of certain things are crazy, because it's like, yes, you would think the 90s are like this progressive time, like we cloned the first sheep in the 90s, like, you know, you think, but then like, no, there were still people in office who were like doing that, you know. So yes, like I think in the current moment, it's shocking. Like I agree with you. It's shocking to think that that Disney would touch that in the 90s. You think that's more like a like a 50s movie maybe.
Yeah.
But nah, there were still people around who had that kind of like mentality and had power and stuff like that. I was shocked that Strom Thurmond was around till 2003.
Yeah, that was shocking. I actually didn't know that part. I knew that he had the record for protesting against the civil rights.
I knew that too.
Yeah, but he's last served in 2003.
Damn.
Because I saw a tweet that was like, do you understand how racist you have to be to rant for 24 hours about how you really don't want minorities to mix with regular white people?
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
No, but then I think the context.
But why? Like, I get it. No, I get it. And the context that he still served in the government up until this millennium.
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure. And I think, because I think a lot of times people forget how recent all that stuff was, right? And I think it's also important for people to unpack that, of course, if he's in the government that long, he's gonna have impacts, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, I think there's this misconception. Maybe it's presented that way. I don't know why. I think I'm that once the 64, like the Rights Act happened, all good. All the racists left. It all disappeared. Nah, not at all.
Still right now, I guess they're trying to. Well, not even like as if that's like a profound thought. Just we still are actively trying to rid our government of that if we ever even can. Because I mean, America was built on a lot of racism.
No, yeah, like I think it's crazy because like I think the president right now, right? He was born in 46. I mentioned on the show that my parents are both older, right? My dad specifically, he was born in 46 too, and my dad talks about how we'll drive past like a restaurant and be like, oh, you know, they kicked me out of that restaurant because I was Mexican, and that's just my dad. You know, like that's not like this far like different. And I think people forget the other side of that spectrum is still around. Yeah. If my dad is around,
damn, I didn't even think of that.
If my dad is around and walking around and being like, oh yeah, I remember they threw me out of that restaurant.
With kids like that are in their 20s.
Yeah, and 46, the Civil Rights Act 46, so my dad was like around our age when finally it was illegal to discriminate supposedly. Yeah. But he talks about how like, you know, you could walk into a restaurant and they just wouldn't serve you. Mm-hmm. They would just act like you didn't exist, like you weren't there. Yeah. So, you know, I think that's why it's important to unpack. You know, it's important to like bring up and be like, no, like, it's still around.
That is crazy because, like, I never thought of it because I always knew about your dad, and I never thought about it through the opposite side of that approach of, like, damn, there could be somebody out here driving with their dad, and their dad's like, you know, when that restaurant, I kicked some Mexican out of that restaurant. Yeah. And it felt so good. I miss when we could do that.
Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy? And that's why I bring up the president, because he's the same age. Like, he's the same year. And it's kind of relates to the Strom Thurmond thing of like, there's still people around who are alive and well when that happened, who probably had that mentality. Because like you could be like a person who was born in, I don't know, you were 20 when the Civil Rights Act passed, and bro, 20 years of being like, nah, it's right to be racist. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I think that's still around. Like, I was also watching this. Have you guys ever seen the movie Mississippi Burning?
No. That sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
It's this movie with Willem Dafoe and Gene Hackman who just passed. It's about these FBI agents being sent to this small town in Mississippi to investigate the murder of these civil rights activists. And it was done by the police county in that county, right? I think this they say this happened in like it's based on a true story. It happened in the 60s after the civil rights movement. And the movie was made in like the 80s, early 80s. And one of the things that I found really profound in that movie, because it's a good movie. I don't know if it's like how true or if like they stretch the truth or whatever. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I found profound in that movie was they have like this, they have the news crew, right? It's like supposed to be kind of like a wink at the audience of like, you know, kind of break the fourth wall without breaking the fourth wall, where they're interviewing the people of the town being like, oh, what do you think of the FBI, like investigating the murder of these civil rights activists? And they have this older person who is an actor, right? Being like, oh, I don't think that's true. I think it's a hoax. I think it's a hoax cooked up by Martin Luther King and that whole group. And I was in awe because I was like, man, that sounds exactly like how people talk now. Mm-hmm. It's a hoax cooked up by Black Lives Matter. It's a hoax cooked up by this, that. And that's why I think history is so important, right? Yeah. Like, you need to unpack these things because you see the patterns. You see how it directly correlates. You can see how it correlates too, you know. But
people say time is a circle. It's all just going around and around.
Yeah. I don't know. You see the echoes of that time, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, and then, I don't know, like, obviously they show that they caught the police officers, right? But most of them only got like 5 years, 10 years for murdering and lynching people. And
I get you. It is exhausting too, because like people will tell you. Like, none of that shit even exists anymore, especially young kids. And it's like, bro, like, I mean, I'm not that far removed from being young myself.
Yeah.
Right? I've only been around 20 years. Like, your pop's been around for triple my lifetime.
No,
So.
yeah, because like I think the time to when that movie takes place, I think I was telling my partner, I was like, oh, like in the time this happened, my dad was 21. So I was like, can you imagine like
Basically the age we're on right now.
Like, can you imagine our age right now? And then there's like lynchings going on and stuff like that, and the KKK's running around. The police are part of the KKK. Not too far removed from what's going on, but it's
It's. I also think it's in the same way of like, right? That's your dad, right? And you are you, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other side that you said, right, where the guy who like kicked out your dad, he's the one who's influencing his kid to be the way that he is, which is why it's still like a cycle, right? Like we're still kind of passing down those values, those kind of like mentalities, which makes it harder, right, for the rest of us who are currently young to be like to still have that conflict, because it's still, we're still growing from that era of like everything that was happening.
And that's why people are always so up in arms about the ages of the people in power, right? Because those are the people on the other side who were fighting against like making that a law, being like, nah, like they don't need equal rights, you know? Like, and to think that they're not still having that time of what's the word, like mentality, it's just wrong. Like I don't understand how you can't put two and two together. Like how they're trying to get rid of gay marriage right now. You know, like I fail to see how you can't make that connection. That is still, because have you guys ever seen some of the signs that used to have around here that used to say restaurants to say no blacks, no Mexicans, no dogs, that they would consider the Mexican and black people as on the same level as a dog? Isn't that, Jesus Christ, dude? But I think kind of trying to wrap it around too, to kind of like what you talk about with the woman you learned about. In that movie, they bring up, like, I thought was a pretty profound scene where the FBI agents are trying to interview like the black people in the community, being like, oh, who did this? Who did that? And none of them want to speak, because every time they speak to one of the people in the community, the police are paying attention. So they go burn down their house, burn down their farm, or beat them violently. So it's like, how can you can't at all judge for the fear that they've been instilled in the things that they've gone through. You know, so it's just crazy. That's why I'm like, I think history is so important. You know, I think people need to learn history.
Yeah, it does relate, because I imagine like a lot of people who were put in that similar situation would probably do the same. And even then, like it's easier to be like, no, I wouldn't, like, you know, like I wouldn't, but push comes to shove, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just hard. I think it's difficult. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just thinking about how, like, damn, this conversation just came from my pen.
I know.
I know, right? Well, that was the cold open. Let's get right into the show.
We're professional yappers. That's what we do.
Ethical yaps.
I just thought it was funny. Because I was just thinking about it. I was like, it just came from my pen.
You know, like, you know what I want to add to about that movie that I don't think I've ever realized until now, that I kind of am like, because I like the song. It's the song where I don't want to say it because I think it sounds offensive. I just think it is offensive. Where it's the settlers and
I think I know what you're talking about.
And the indigenous people are being like, oh, they're using the same rhetoric. And I think, like, I thought the song was catchy, right? But I think in retrospect, I'm like, but they're not the same. Like, you can't be like both sides have a point. Like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like one side is very clearly more valid, considering like what's going on. No?
I'm telling you, that meme always gets me. It's like, these are basically the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't think you can. That's why I'm very surprised that Disney
hasn't said anything.
Jubilee.
Yeah. No, but for me, Color of the Wind just has.
No, for sure.
Like,
I think the theme and the message.
She's like, you think I'm an ignorant savage.
And
but still I cannot see.
Yeah, it also makes
if the savage one is me.
No, because remember they're singing and what's the name of the guy who's the main dude who's like their skin's hellish red, and then they cut to the
big guy.
Yeah, but then they cut to the Native Americans being like they're ghostly white and shit, kind of being like, oh, see, they're both being racist. I'm like, I don't know that they're both being racist, man. I feel like
that's how you know a team of Americans made that movie.
Yeah, crazy
but
shit.
Brandon, what did you bring to the show?
I guess it's like it's this is a pretty good conversation to lead up to it. I think like what I was been thinking about for the past week is like, if I can get real for a second with our audience, right? I think that I've been feeling pretty low, pretty defeated and sad. Honestly, I don't think there's better words than that. Disappointed. Because I don't know. I just think in general, like for personal reasons and for like reasons in the world.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's difficult to be. I don't consider what we do, or at least what I do, to be revolutionary. I feel like I even hesitate to call myself an advocate.
Yeah.
I think as a man, it's pretty easy for me to just run my mouth, right? But I think I am in support of a lot of things that, for some reason, the world has decided are controversial.
Yeah.
And I think it sometimes can get to me, and I don't know if other people feel that way, where it feels very defeating, because I think there's things that we support or try our best to educate on, or at least bring light to, that, you know, are what I believe to be just truths. Like, you know, like, I don't think it's controversial for me to say, I think certain people deserve rights. If you want to marry, who you marry, I don't think that's wrong. You know what I mean? But it makes me sad, like, genuinely, to hear people genuinely believe that that's an extreme view.
Yeah.
Or to consider that as some sort of liberal propaganda that I'm spinning, that is propaganda in general.
Yeah.
For people to have rights, for people to be free to do whatever they want to do, for people to not be judged on the color of their skin. I mean, we just explained right now, like, how that's still around, despite the fact that people don't want to acknowledge it, right? Like, I think, to me, I don't think that's at all extreme. I don't think that's at all. I know it's politicized, but I don't think it is political. But I think it saddens me to see that that's what people will make of it. You know what I mean? Like, just to protect people, because I know that we're a public platform, right? I've known people, I've met people, to say the least, who are undocumented. They are some of the kindest people, and they're point blank, they are the kindest people I've ever met. But I see the fear that they live with. I've seen firsthand. Like, there was a time in my life where I think I knew more undocumented people than I knew documented people. Like, when I went to high school. This is the long past, right? Yeah. And to me, I'm just like, to see all these people so in advocacy for, you know, these people who didn't do anything wrong. The only difference between me and them is that there's a piece of paper that says I'm allowed to be here. Yeah. Right? And to see the way that they're treated, man, is just appalling. Like, to see how, like it's one thing to have people in power, politicians or white people, right? The known bad guys, right? To see how they treat them. It's one thing, right? It's not any better. It's horrible. It's tough to stomach. But to see people in our own community sometimes be contributing voices to that is so defeating for me. Like, I think, to me, sometimes it can get to feel like, I feel like we're just talking into the ether. Yeah. Like, what is even the point of this if even the people in our own community aren't in agreement of that? You know, like I've talked about how there's real cases, right? Like, this is how the 60 scoop about how the government saw the Native American people as an issue. This was their land as an issue, that they went in and they kidnapped Native kids and sent them everywhere but Canada. Yeah. I can't even see how that's even a political issue. That seems just like a moral humanitarian issue. Yeah. And there's people here who would be like, oh, tough shit. Tough, who gives a fuck? Like, this and that. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, how is that a weakness to care? How can you not even acknowledge that that's just wrong, like, at a basis, let alone add to the other side and be like, no, let's keep doing that. Like, some of the stuff that I read about, like, when I read this book, or that when I do the research, the brief research that I do on the talking points that I bring up, I read it and I'm like, man, how have we not burned this place to the ground? Like, some of these things are so atrocious, man. Like, you talked about that documentary, No Mas Bebes, right? Where it's an actual in-practice example of how people went out of their way to remove the autonomy of people's bodies. They castrated people like animals. Like they are people. Like this was this city. Like you can see the building they did that in from right here. And that wasn't that long ago. That was like 40 years ago. Some of our parents were alive then, were kids. There's people still walking around, still holding office, still teaching schools, probably still in medical boards or whatever, who took place in that. Yeah. And I can't fathom. It staggers me. It really staggers me. Specifically the people in our community who are part of that. Like, you know, I'm not part of the LGBT community, but I really do support them. And I really try my best to advocate them when I can. Yeah. But sometimes I see like the way that they're treated and oh my God, man, like I can't fathom like why, like what's wrong with people? Mm-hmm. To me, it's like, you know, like it's just difficult because I'm like, what are they doing? What are they doing wrong? Just existing? Just saying, hey, I want to marry the person I love. What the fuck's wrong with that? Yeah. And it's equally defeating considering that there's people in our community who support that. Mm-hmm. There's people who are part of that community who support that talk. Mm-hmm. There's people who are, you know, and especially like our community, all the stuff that we've gone through. Like if you read history, all the stuff that the community's gone through, that it's so easy to that you can connect with other communities struggling. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like before, like not that long ago, it wasn't even legal for a white person to marry a person of color. How can you not see a direct correlation or a direct struggle there of the LGBT community? They also want to marry who they want to marry. How can you not feel that like sympathy at the very least? Like nobody's asking you to go and advocate or do what we do or fuck off, like whatever. How can you not even just agree that that's wrong? Like it shocks me. Like it leaves me feeling hopeless. Like genuinely, like it feels like sometimes I feel like, damn, we're really just talking into the air, talking into the wind. Like nobody's listening. Cause like, or like Palestine, right? Like there's so many people who say like, oh, we care about kids. And I don't want to go down that road. I don't have the energy right now. But half the deaths in Palestine are all children. Yeah. How can you in your same breath, not even just say that that's wrong? How can you like we're watching a genocide happening? It's not even like it's like not being covered. Go on any news site. Go on your phone. Look up it's being recorded in 4K film. You can see it. Like it or like I don't know. And I was thinking like I don't know how even like what we do. Like I said, I don't think what we do is or what I do. I'll speak for myself. Is very revolutionary at all. Like I said, I'm a man. I can talk my shit whenever I want to, and you know there's gonna be an audience. Yeah. But I don't know how people like activists like Bisan who go out into Palestine and there's people who are kidnapped for speaking out. Mm-hmm. I don't know how there's activists who have been killed in history for doing this. Yeah. I don't know how people like I have a lot of respect for ISIS of the besties. Shout out to them who can go up to Congress or in her small not Congress and what would you say like her small governments and speak out on her behalf.
City council,
right? knowing damn well that those people are like horrific people who do not give a rat's ass what any of us have to say, who are bought and paid for, who don't care. Like I see people glorifying Elon Musk and all these things like, dude, like, you know, that guy is just using you, right? He sees you as dollar signs. Yeah. And so that's just something that I've been thinking about is like, I don't understand. I really commend and have a lot of respect for the people who go above and beyond what I do. Like, I think what I do isn't revolutionary, but I don't know how they do it. I really don't. Because to me, sometimes it's hard to not feel like it's a losing battle. Mm-hmm. Like, it really sometimes feels that way. Like, fuck, man. Like, you would think that the communities or everybody would just come together and we'd all be in agreement that what is being done is wrong. Yeah. Nope. You can't. Like, half the argument is just getting people to understand that it's wrong. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, and that's so defeating. Because you look at the other side, you look at the oppressors, and they have no morals. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They'll do anything. They have no shame. They have no qualm about whatever they do. They'll gladly do anything and whatever it takes to win, so to speak. And sometimes it's just like, fuck, how do you even compete with that? How do you morally compete with somebody immoral? Somebody who's willing to do anything. People who are willing to be racist, support rapists, gladly kill, sign documents to fund a genocide. How do you even compete with that, man? Like, I think it's difficult to to remain optimistic at the very least. And I think what's been difficult for me is I feel like I haven't been able to find the optimism. Like I'll still advocate. Like I'm still gonna do what I believe in. Like I don't think I hope people don't take this as like, oh, I don't believe in the validity of the cause. Of course I do. It's just more like it's hard to remain optimistic in spite of all this. And I think for me, at the very least, optimism is half the battle. Because I feel like if you're fighting for something to change, you have to have the optimism and the faith that it will change, right? But I think once that goes away, it's hard to like get up and say like, fuck, like, yeah, like I'll speak out for the people. Like, it's hard, like, you know, especially like sometimes it really is the community. Like there's people in the community, whether it's by malice intent because they just don't like you or because of ignorance and they've been indoctrinated, that will pull you down at any cost because they don't like what you do. And that's difficult. That's difficult to contend with. It's difficult to speak about because you also don't, like I was talking to Steve about it, that you also don't want to show that, right? I'm not even talking about like as a man, I don't want to show my emotions or anything like that. It's more like you know for a fact that this is what the opposing side wants to see. They want to see people lose their faith, lose their conviction, feel down, like they have nothing to fight for. And so it's like tough because it's like, well, I am a human being. Yeah. I am a person with emotions. I'm not a robot. And I feel like it's hard. Like, how do you show that and say like, fuck, I don't even know why I do this anymore. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking into the wind now. Nobody's listening. And then remain like, no, like, let's rally the troops. Like, let's keep going. So that's something I've been thinking about, you know. I think it's difficult. Yeah. That's it. I don't really have a
no, I think that no, and you said a lot of valuable shit, dude. Julie, you want to go?
Well, I was just gonna say that like what you're saying, I've always felt, and like, cause like as a woman, right, like it's always been that constant battle, and like, I mean, we've kind of talked about it here, where like growing up in a Hispanic household or Latino household is always difficult because it's like you're always competing with like your family, right? They're the ones who are like like the current beliefs that people have that you're seeing in this world, you see it in like a very close basis of like you see it with your family. So it's always like a constant fight, right? And like I feel for what you're saying because I'm like, it's always felt like that every single day of like trying to find that optimism, right? Of being like, why do I want to continue fighting, right? And I know I sound crazy because I'm also sick. So, but like I feel that because it's like for me, I've had that constant feeling every single day. Like growing up, that's always been like my feeling. And I think it just like makes me emotional because it's like I'm just rethinking everything. Of like it's always been like that. Like it's always, but I think for me, what's always motivated me is knowing that like I'm able to find people who have the same beliefs as me and seeing like how you said like there's people who are doing a lot more than what I'm doing, right? There's people who are risking their lives or who have risked their lives for people. Who've given their lives too. Yeah, and like I think for me that's always been my motivation. Like maybe like I can't be that person, right? Because like I live in that fear of something can happen to me, right? But I think seeing that there's people who do that, I'm always gonna show them support as much as I can in however way that I can. And I think for me, my motivation is that like I'm trying my best, and I know that I'm doing my best that I can to like be that voice as well. And I think for me, like it's hard. It's for sure hard because it's like how I said, like you hear it a lot, especially when it's in your close like knit and you like see it, and it's like this constant battle with them. But I think it's just knowing that like there's in some way like just continuing the fight, I think is like because it makes me think of like, you know, right now currently with the what's her name again, like the one that reports all like like the fact that she does that, right? It's the fact that she still tries to like inform us and like And I always think like, what motivates you? Like, how are you
Yeah.
so like optimistic of like
Yeah.
getting out when it's currently happening to you? Like, how
Yeah.
can you do that? And I think for me, that's my motivation of like, whatever it is that she's thinking, however she's trying to like push forward to this, that's my motivation of like, there is that optimism. Because if
Yeah.
she's able to do it in the current state that everything is, then like I can possibly do that too. And I
Yeah.
get that it's like hard, right? Like for me, I've told myself, like, I get that that's always been hard to do. Like, it does feel lonely sometimes. Like, it's like incredibly hard, but like you get to see people who actually do it, which is why it makes me so mad when people in our community use like that type of like rhetoric and they use it to their own advantage, but they don't believe that. Like, in deep down, they're actually very conservative and they're very like closed-minded, but they showcase it as like, this is who they believe because it's what's cool right now, right? And that's why it always angers me that people like act that way, because I'm like, that's not how you really think, and that's very harmful, because like there's people who genuinely are being harmed by the things that you say and like do. And like, how is it that you're just using this as something that like is trendy to you? Like, because it's not a trend. These are real actual lives that get affected by what people say. And like, to me, it's just like, I don't know, that's just all I kept like thinking about, because I was like, I feel like that's just something that like, for me, it's always been a constant battle, and it's always so disappointing when it is people in our community who are just, because it's like, how can you not see that you're being manipulated? You're being taken advantage of, and like, you're betraying people who are close to you, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's real. I mean, I guess I can't really, and I'm sure you're not mainly seeking. It's more of just like conversation starter. I'm not gonna give you solutions. I'm more so just gonna tell you how I feel and what I use, and see if maybe you find some value in something that I just bring up. For me, I get a lot of optimism and a lot of motivation to continue to keep being an advocate for things that I believe are the right things, right? And the things that motivate me is, like Julie said, I think loneliness has been like a big enemy in my life. I've always felt like I've dealt with loneliness a lot. I've gotten better as I've gotten older. But I see people message us or leave in the comments, or even beyond the podcast, I see like that, like Bisan, right? That's how you say her name. She's inspiring you, right? And I see that even us giving like something out into the world, throwing something out there, whether it's a reel, whether it's this podcast, people listening, whether it's an interaction of like you see somebody out in the world, I think that gives motivation, and lets people know that they're not alone, that there's other people like you, right? There's like-minded people like you out there. And so I can't ever believe that people are just going to inherently always be problematic or ignorant. And those people are always going to exist. But I truly believe that some people can change their mind, and some people will have their mind changed. And people like young kids are impressionable. They'll see this. They'll see like what we're pushing out there, which is just the fight for what's right in the world. And they'll see that, and it'll develop and mold their minds. Like, I think about my nephew, right? Like how he's young, and he's being raised in the ways that I feel like are the right ways, are the ways where I feel like I try and tell him to not be sexist, not try and push this like misogyny that gets pushed in little boys at a young age. I try to do all the things that are very progressive towards him, because I truly believe that like children are the ones that are the most open-minded. I don't think open-minded is the right word. More like just like kind of like their minds are more I don't know, easily molded. But like, did you get what I'm saying? Like more just like kind of the ones that I feel like even if adults aren't the ones that are gonna change their mind, I think kids can look at things and see the truth, and see that there's a lot of injustices and a lot of truths that they should believe in. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that if we didn't exist, if we just weren't here, it would be such an atrocity to humanity. And I don't mean to make that like this podcast. I mean all people who are always in the fight and being advocate for people's human rights, people's ability to just be happy and live their life, looking out for other fellow humans who are being killed in a genocide. Like I think that even though it's so defeating and it is exhausting, it's better that we are here than if we weren't. You know, because if we weren't here, then it all would be people who don't give a fuck, who lack the moral and ethical understanding of seeing humans in the dirt and seeing humans who are being belittled and treated as if there's something less. And the fact that we're here is a big moment. And I think about all the invisible ties that I'm sure we've pushed on people. Like I see people DM us and tell like people from like all over the world give us compliments about how like I feel alone in my household, but I listen to you guys, or I watched this reel, or I saw what you guys said about this, and it made me feel so validated, and it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And as somebody who's suffered a lot through loneliness in life, I feel like that is what really pushes me, is that even if I feel alone, I'm making somebody else in the world feel less alone. And even if I still feel lonely like every day, somebody out there in the world doesn't, because of me, because of people like me. Yeah. Even if it isn't so directed in the individual. I guess I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday about this, and I was saying that I truly believe that the change comes from the one, from the within, from it starts with yourself. Obviously, you know, like policies and civil rights movements and overall changing the social norms of what people think that is ignorant and harmful is a large step, and it's beautiful, but it starts with the within, with the one. Like a lot of us together make up what society is, what's socially acceptable, what we see as morally wrong. And I like to believe that if we start with the one, which is yourself, then you can change a group of people. Like eventually more and more people will be just like us. And I keep I keep stopping in my place because I don't also want to put too much emphasis, because I agree with you. I don't think that necessarily what we do is revolutionary. I think if anything, we're just stating the obvious. But if somehow the world has become, not even the world, somehow this country has become where being morally and ethically aware is somehow controversial. I agree. That's like a beautiful take. And so I don't want to put too much emphasis on our show, because I really don't think we're doing anything that groundbreaking. But what I do think is groundbreaking is every individual who chooses to stand up when they see injustices. Like people like you were just mentioning Bisan, right? Like Bisan, like the amount of people that she inspires, like I can't help but be like, she's up there risking her life. If she's able to do that, risk her life and be optimistic, then I can be in just social settings and be an advocate too. If people can do the extreme, then the least I could do is also just be an advocate in just social circles, in maybe a podcast, and maybe just like my uncle or my aunt says something ignorant. Of course, people who are ignorant, people who are morally corrupt are always going to be around. But you know what? We're always going to be around too. Yeah. And as long as we're around, then the people who are morally corrupt will never take over the world. Like I think that's how I stay optimistic, is that if I were to feel defeated, and I mean, it's okay to feel defeated, but if I were to accept the defeat, you get me? If I were to accept the defeat, if I was just to be like, whatever, like I give up, people are never going to change. I feel like all that's doing is just letting the oppressor win. And I just can't ever, maybe out of spite or maybe just out of passion, I just can't ever deal with that reality of the oppressor just wins. Yeah. I think that's like what really fires me up, is that I can't ever just sit in the sand and accept that people and especially my own community, because it is sad, in my own community, will just always be at the hand and knee of the oppressor. I just can't believe that. I think if I exist, if currently in this moment I believe the things I believe, then that means somebody else can grow up and think the same things as me. Because I think about, and not to like go on a separate rant, but I think about how people who are in Latinos and talk about like, oh, you know, like we just so naturally alive with conservative values. Makes no sense to me. My family came from a rural part of Mexico came from all the same things of religious upbringings, but yet I still exist. Like I still exist, and I push and I believe in progressive ideas because that's just justice wise what I think is right. So I don't ever believe that just naturally people are going to be evil and ignorant and have corrupt morals. I think that it's not possible. If I exist, then many more like me can exist and will exist and continue to exist. And I think that's what pushes me forward is that as much as I can feel lonely, I know that I'm not alone. You know? Yeah. And that's basically my take on things. Have fun time.
I get what you mean. I 100% get what you mean. I think it's just like I said earlier, I think it's a difficult I guess reality check, reality like intake to kind of. I think just for me, like there's this line in that movie that I mentioned, Mississippi Burning. Again, I'm not familiar with the events outside of the movie, so I don't know what's dramatized, what's left out, what's all these things. But there's this part where this boy that they interviewed, who is a black man, right? The police, the oppressing police force, basically rape him, almost to death. And Willem Dafoe's character, just all he can say is, "What's wrong with these people?" And I think that was such a powerful and profound line because I think that encapsulates a lot about my personal like intake of what goes on in the world. Is it's just hard for me to fathom how much hate people can have in their hearts, how much disdain they can have for one another, that would cause them to do such things. You know, for me, it's not so much that I don't believe that there's people out there who have optimism, and like if anything, I commend them. Like it's given me a whole new appreciation for them. I just want to say that, but I think it's a heartbreaking reality, like to come to terms with, that there's people out there who just are gonna be like that, who just are like that, and who are willingly participating, who want to be a part of that, who for some reason that I just can't explain. It's almost like, I don't know, maybe it's like because we went to Catholic school and you get taught of like there's good and there's wrong and there's all these things, or like I don't know, maybe just American media like that you read or that you engage with in terms of movies of everybody has a reason for what they do. All villains are sympathetic, some shit like that.
Oh, I get you.
You know what I mean?
There's
like,
a motive.
There's a motive. There's all these things, but you see some of the monstrosities that people are capable of or capable of backing, and my God, man, again, I'm not trying to like shine the light on religion like right now. I don't have the energy to, but like you think about stuff where it's like this creator made a fantastic point of like, why do they go so hard for just gay marriage? Like there's other things that they're so readily forgiving. Like there's this guy I see him get posted a lot where he talks about how it's like, oh, I'm friends with rapists and I have murderer friends and people who have date raped. And to me, I'm like, you would sooner offer them sympathy, forgiveness, understanding before you would offer a gay person? That to me is like astonishing. Like it floors me. It really does. Because to me, like the man shall not lie with another man, right? That's not even in the 10 Commandments or in the Beatitudes. There's other, like we went to school for this.
Beatitudes.
We went to school for this shit, right? There's in the 10 Commandments, it's honor thy mother and father. There's what else is there?
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt keep the Sabbath day holy. Never work on a Sunday. You should always go to church. That's the 10 Commandments. That's in the book. That's God specifically saying, according to the book, these are the laws I find most important. People don't even follow those. They don't even. I guarantee you, if you talk to some people, they'd be like, yeah, but like, come on, like have some common sense. Times have changed. Not everybody goes to church on Sundays. But then they turn around, and they're some of the most hateful, disgusting people towards the LGBTQ community. They're willing to kill and lynch and support those kinds of attitudes. Like, where does it ever say in the Bible that a woman should be oppressed? I'm sure it does say that, right? But where's then the 10 Commandments does it say that? And yet they're like, nah, women should serve man, this, and that. The way that they talk, I think to me sometimes it's just astonishing. Yeah. It's flooring, it's heartbreaking that people really just have that in their hearts. Like, I think it's I was talking to somebody who talked about it, how it's like, yeah, man, it's just the way things are, you know. That's just the way reality can be sometimes. And I think it's just I don't know. Like I said, there's no pin in this. There's no like solution. It's just like a reality, like an observation that I think is difficult for a lot of people, like what you shared. Like you said, I know, like you're an advocate for women, and you always do, and you always speak up for women's rights. I don't think that changes because of this realization that you have, or that you wake up and you find it difficult to find optimism. I just think that's a reality of things, and I would really love to. I just admire the people who can just get up and just fight every day, with such vigor, put their lives on the line for this thing. Not because I don't understand, in the sense of like, why are you doing that? Like, this is a losing battle. I'm just like, the strength and optimism, mental fortitude, compassion it must take to do that almost seems inhuman to me. Like, it seems like, I don't want to sound like, a cornball, but it seems like hate and disdain is far easier to do, that it almost seems human. Like, like it almost seems like, people are just like that. Yeah. But for somebody to be so advocately putting their lives on the line for people they've never met, and being so socially aware, so all these things, it's almost inhuman. Like, that I'm just like, how do you do that? It's just, like I said, it just gives me a new appreciation, at the very least, I should say, for these types of people like Bisan, or just anybody in history in general who like fights for these kinds of things. Because I think, like I said earlier, it's like, how do you fight the immoral? How do you fight? Like, how do you fight with people who have no shame? How do you think speak up against people who have no shame in what they say, who are willing to sacrifice? I don't know, who just like will cross any line, who won't play by any rule books. How do you like bring order to that? I think it mind boggles me. It's hard not to, you know what I mean? Like, to just get fucked. Like, what do you even do?
Yeah, I get you. Do you think that people are just like, that's just innately human? Like, is it easier to be
I don't know,
quote unquote, a bad person?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm just like, it must be easier, given the way that the people who are in control, how easy it is for people to kind of just not participate or go like this. It must be like easier. Do I think that means there's more people who just don't have compassion? No. But I do think in the current moment, despite what people will tell you, it's far more difficult to speak up, to advocate, to take part, to put your shoes put your feet in the shoes of others. You know what I mean? Like, I saw this awesome quote that somebody had. It was just in a TikTok comment where they said, not caring about other people's rights is how you lose your own. You know what I mean? And I think, I think there's people who genuinely don't care about other people's rights. And I'm not even trying to like offer like a forgiveness for them. I just don't think it occurs to them. I think the like having the ability to think for other people, or say like, this doesn't affect me, but I'll stand up for you, doesn't seem very common. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think it's just these things that I'm like, fuck, like, what do you even, what does that leave? What does that leave a lot of people with? Like, what is that?
Because I don't think I truthfully just don't believe that people are born, or it's not easier to be hateful. I think people are just taught it. And because I think about like people who are super strong advocates and super like optimists and do the crazy shit, put their life on their line. And I don't know why I connect to their upbringing. I feel like they had to have had not powerful maybe, but an ultra inspiring people in their lives to have set the groundwork for the person that they became. I just think, and I think that must be true for the opposite too. I think that terrible people who are morally corrupt, who are unethical, I think that it's their upbringing. They were taught that way. I think that that's just like how it is. I don't think it's easier in the same sense. I think being a good person is. Like, I agree with that. But I think that it's still hard because, like you said, people who don't advocate for others' rights end up losing their own. I think that when you choose to be morally corrupt and be a quote-unquote bad person, I truly believe that leads you down a path where not even being punished by God or whatever, but I think your actions have consequences. If you are a terrible person, you're going to wind up with terrible situations and consequences. I like that, right? Like all these people who, I'll give one example, and this is in no way like an aim at anybody, but somebody who supports Elon Musk. Like you said, they just see you as a dollar sign. If only those people existed, guarantee you would be abused. If anything, those people are abused currently, working their whole lives to barely be able to pay rent every year, and barely even is that even a life at that point.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think, at least from my point, this isn't me trying to change your mind. I'm just saying, from me, that's what I think about.
I think it's just like, from where I'm coming at is like, historically wise, you know what I mean? Like, I think for the reason I think it's easier is like, the society you enter and are born into is innate, like already like that. Like, I think even if it wasn't like, but like we're born into a society that's already oppressive. You know what I mean? So to lean oppressive, I think is just, it's like that. That's everything from like the clothes that you buy, the products that are pushed on you, the way people talk, the way that people are elected, you know, all these things. I think people are just surrounded by this stuff that I think it's innate in the modern world. I don't think if we had people in a vacuum, like they would be like super hateful. I hope. But I think just given the world that we created, it's become innate.
Yeah, I get you.
And I think what makes it frustrating is it's like, I think I think you have to acknowledge that, like, obviously, I guess I'm biased, or maybe I'm biased, or like, but it seems so easy. It seems so easy to just not think like that. Like if you're like, when you speak up against genocide, right? All you're saying, like, that baffles me. All you're saying is, I think killing is wrong. And people killing innocent people is wrong,
and kids
killing kids is wrong. Like, that's all you say, right? And you would see people just rip their shirts off. That, nah, this fucking guy doesn't know what he's talking about. This like, some of the things people say about what's going on is monstrous, man. There's the like, look it up, the right to rape that people talk about, that was pushed, this propaganda, or the people say, I don't give a shit. Like, that's across the board. Or it's like, I'm just like, how can you not give a shit? Like, it just baffles me. Like, it feels like almost an existential question. Like, it's an existential dilemma that sometimes I think comes up for me.
I agree.
Where it's like, damn, like, I don't know. I think it's just an existential dilemma that doesn't have an easy answer, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think I give all the props to the advocates and the people who are on the front lines protesting, fighting for it, you know, putting their lives on the line and continuously being loud, continuously taking up space. Because fuck, like, and I can't, in my mind, like, it's hard for me to just, I just can't, it's hard for me to contend with these thoughts. For the time being, the only solution I have is like, well, tough shit, you got to do it anyways. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel bad, like, there's other people who don't even have the opportunity to do that. Tough shit, you got to do it anyways. That's the only thing that I can come up with. But that's not that I feel that everybody should think that. It's just more like, it's just difficult. It's difficult to for people to, at least myself included, to find the optimism. Just I think that's solely it. To find the optimism, to find the faith, to find the fire in your soul. That's like, no, things are gonna change. Things are gonna get better. Things are gonna work themselves out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's why people do end up following religion, because they think it is a common existential crisis. Like that, when you said that, I was like, I think it is, because when you were just saying, like, if you look at history and like, you could kind of argue that only the bad people have ever won.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, I was like, well, where's that gonna put us? Humanity's probably gonna go extinct, so we are punished for being bad.
Yeah.
So in a way, it is still balancing itself out.
And I think it's tough too, like how I said, like to show it, because it's like, this isn't even like a hot take. I know it's so strange that I have to say that, but you look at Congress, or you look at people who are religious leaders. Look at the clips where they say, empathy is the enemy of God. You guys are too empathetic. We need less empathy. It's almost like empathy is going extinct. Yeah. Like, and that's a shocking. Have you guys ever seen that picture where it's this picture of a cowboy looking over the industrial land? I think it's taken in like the 1900s, where it's supposed to be like a powerful thing about how it's a cowboy being left in the past, that the industrialized world just built up before his very eyes. It's a very powerful picture. I really like it. And I think it's hard not to feel like that, of like, fuck, I guess this is the direction the world is demanding to go in, and I can't understand why. You know, like I said, still, we're going to fight, still going to advocate where we can, or speak up where we can, but it's shocking that that's what people are demanding that they want. You know what I mean? That, no, like, that shit's hard. Like, let's keep doing that. I don't know. It's tough. It's difficult. And like Julie, and what you guys are saying, I think there's an isolating factor to that. It feels like sometimes like, fuck, am I insane? Am I the insane one? Like, am I genuinely tripping? Everybody's saying we're tripping.
Yeah.
Am I actually tripping? Like, am I?
Yeah. Am I actually in the wrong for real?
You guys swear I'm in the wrong. Like, the way you guys talk, you guys are like, nah, like, there may be something to murder. There may be some, like, I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? How can you guys genuinely in my face?
Like,
say,
yeah, like it's genuinely in your face, be like, dude, it's okay to be homophobic. Like,
yeah, like it's okay to be hateful, bro. Just hate people. Just hate people. That's what I do. Just hate people, bro. Like, you're being soft, bro. Just start hating people. That's what I would do.
I was like, bro, just don't empathize with people.
Get racist, bro. I'm racist. Like, whoa, man. Like, what happened? I think, too, it's also why I bring up my dad, because it's like, you would think in his lifetime, or from what people like to make it seem like, oh, the 60s were forever ago or whatever. Yeah. Oh, we'd have all this progress or all these things. It's like, damn, the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's just like we have racism and it's in the future. It's like Blade Runner. It's like, nah, yeah, we have future shit, but people are still racist. Like, you know.
No,
so like
yeah,
I said,
agree.
I think for me, if I had to put like a period on this, I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's important to talk about this aspect of it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know.
100%.
Like I said, I think it's difficult because it's like you don't want to show that you feel defeated because you know that's what they want, right? But I can't also just ignore that that's how I feel sometimes.
Be fake.
It feels inauthentic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It feels inauthentic. And that's another thing that bothers me is when we advocate, people are like, they're just being fake. You think murder is wrong, bro? Stop being fake. Like, what? What do you mean?
You guys are just pandering.
Yeah.
To who?
We're
to clearly everybody fucking hates us.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would we be pandering to?
We're virtue signaling.
Like,
these are just virtue signaling.
Obviously not everybody hates us. Like, there is but when I guess saying that, I mean like a large amount of our community, and I'm specifically honing in Latino community, does push back on us. Like, we know, like, it's not a secret. Like, we know people push back on us, but like truthfully, I just can't ever see that what we do is harmful or wrong. I'm truthfully coming into it with the idea and the good heart of wanting to better our community. And I don't, and this few months that, not in a few months, a few years now. Well, and in this few years that we've done this, I feel like it's created a space and a dialogue for Mexican Latino communities to, you know, break generational curses, break some traumatic behaviors that happen in the household. Of course, we haven't fixed anything. If anything, who knows if we even did anything? But if it was even the smallest, smallest, even a convo in people's houses,
no, for
to
sure.
me, it's just very motivating.
For sure, yeah. And I don't want to like discredit the supporters or the people who like do feel moved or impacted, because I'm not trying to say like the hateful people like speak for y'all or like that's the louder voice or anything. But it's just I just think like what I'm trying to say is it's just hard to contend with the fact that really exists. Like that's real.
They're
real.
actually there.
They're actually there because I think it's easy to be like, nah, like nobody actually thinks like that. But give it enough time, you'll meet people who do fucking think like that, who genuinely are like, who'll be like, you're tripping, bro. Like, and I think that's difficult. That's a difficult like reality check that, yeah, bro, some people just, like, you know, like what can I tell you? Like, that's just how some people are going to be. And like I said, it's just hard that, that's just a reality. Those people are real.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting because like this weekend, I went to a rave and like something in somewhat that similar aspect happened where I felt like somebody in my own community, specifically talking about the Latino community, was very what's the word? Like they were pushing against me.
Yeah.
And it just made me think like, why is it that a lot of Latinos very much try to like assimilate or like are very much for the white man and like all that stuff? Because it was just a thought that I had during the weekend. I was like, why is it that they're like this? Like, why is it that like that's just their thing? And like, I remember for the rest of the time, for a little bit, I just kept thinking about it. I was like, why are they like, what do they gain? Like, what is it that they ultimately gain from this? Because I feel like because since I'm in the opposite end of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like if I were in that position, I don't gain anything. It just seems very negative, very like I don't. There's no benefit to me, like being like hateful or like being, like pushing down on my people. Like I don't see any benefit, right?
Yeah.
And I get it that it's because like I'm not in that position, but to me, I was just like, but why are they like this? Like they're never gonna accept us. We're never gonna be. You're never gonna be white.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're never gonna be seen as what they're seeing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how is it that you can't get that through your head that that's like not like it's not a possibility. Like you're always gonna be Latino. You're always gonna be this person of color. Like they're never gonna see you in the same light as them.
Yeah.
So how can you like put yourself in that position and plus put your people down in that? And like to me, the whole entire time I was just like,
no, for sure.
how? Like,
well, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think there's probably a huge diaspora of reasons why, like, what do you call it? Like colonialism and propaganda for sure. And what do you call it? I also think this is why I also wanted to bring it up. I think everybody feels this kind of like existential dread. I think I feel like you're inhuman if you don't feel some kind of existential dread about something. Yeah. And I think when faced with that sort of existential dread, I think it can make or break a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I think some people, unfortunately, take the path of denial in almost a way of like, nah, that's not real. You're tripping, bro. The world isn't like that. Like nobody hates us. No. I can't hear what you're talking about. Yeah. You know, and I think it comes off like evolves into this like hateful that these people can't see, that they just become part of it. Mm-hmm. Like it's easier to just pretend it doesn't exist than to really contend with it. Because like right now, what I'm telling you, like I don't feel better. Like I feel equally as sad and shitty and what's the word? Let hopeless. Down, disappointed, hopeless. I still feel that way. Yeah. But I think, like I said, I think it's a moment that can make or break a lot of people. Yeah. Where it's like, do you continue your path? Do you say like, I still want to fight, even though it looks like a losing battle? Or do you say, fuck it, I quit? Yeah. Do you say, fuck it, I quit? Or do you say, I'm going to join the other side? Yeah. Can't beat them, join them. You know what I mean? Like, I think some people have that attitude, you know? And
Brandon Stark, his heel turn.
I think it's just, it's easier for people to just give up.
Yeah.
Like, I think, and I agree with you in that it always becomes, and it comes to a point where it's like, do I want to keep fighting? And like, I feel like I'm already mentally drained, emotionally drained, right? Like, and like, it just feels hopeless, like how you're saying it feels hopeless. So it's like people get to that point and it's the point where it's like, do I keep fighting or just give in, just give up? And I think I think there's a lot of people who have lost that battle and are just like,
and I think it's kind of tough because it's like you said, it's draining, man. It's emotionally draining. Like it's exhausting to like kind of. Because I think there's like, I don't know what it is. You just assume like you can just make people see reason, you know, like, and that's just isn't the truth. Some people either don't want to see it or they just can't. I don't know, for some reason. And it's emotionally draining, you know, like, of course, like I always have thoughts like, man, what if I just fuck off? Like, what if I just fuck off this podcast and I just go buy a little farm and I just live the rest of my days quiet, not mentally stressed, not thinking about these things. Because I have my privileges, right? Like I'm white passing. If I wanted to, I could shave my beard. I can, you know, talk a little bit more. Why don't I just fuck off? Why don't I just go, instead of screaming into the wind how it feels, why don't I just, I don't know, go disappear? And I can see, if I'm not going to lie to you, that's alluring to me. Like, of course it's alluring. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't feel like just abandoning like these things. But that's what I said. I think it's important to talk about it because I think, I don't know, maybe I haven't engaged with enough content or followed enough people who have vocalized this feeling. But I think it's important to talk about because I'm sure there are people out there who do feel defeated and are like, what's even the reason for doing it? Because like I said, sometimes it feels inhuman to keep going. It feels inhuman to just be like, I lost. Like I lost on the gamble. Like I got beat. So I think it's important for people to unpack it or talk about it because then I don't know. Like you said, it's like, well, I guess I'm not cut out for it. Like I'm not the one who's I'm not cut out for advocating because I felt defeated. You know what I mean? But I'm sure there are people who are advocates who felt defeated, and I think it's important. I think to me, I'm not saying that that's me. I'm just more looking for that in the moment of where y'all at? Where are the people who where are the people who be kind of sad when they advocate? You know?
Yeah. I feel like I think a little, I guess speaking of me personally, I think like how I said, like I've had and I've gone through, I guess, what you're kind of going through, and I feel like for me currently right now what I can think of that has like sort of motivated me, and like I've seen it a lot more is when I went to college and like the people that I met. Yeah. And I think I found, and that's why I say I think I'm very passionate about like college and like how I left and the people that I met, and like I love, and like San Francisco has that special place. Yeah. Because of the fact that I felt like I found like those people.
Solidarity.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I don't want to do it. And like I think currently now, and in the fact of like how we do this podcast, right? And like I've spoken about my sorority, right? Yeah. And like I think seeing in the comments, I don't know them like my sisters, but they're my sorority sisters. Like we're connected through my organization. Yeah. And I think seeing that they support me and showing me like that motivation, and like the actual sisters from San Francisco, which is my chapter, and like seeing them and seeing how they're so encouraging about like what I do now, right? Nobody knew that I was going to do this. I didn't even know we were going to have a podcast. Like, and I think having just that support system has been just very much more of my motivation. Yeah. And I think, and I always think it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the things that we talk about, like, always seem very connected. Yeah. And recently I've been like meeting with like my sorority sisters, even though we're far, like I've been meeting with them. And like, I keep telling them this story about how I think something that really, really motivates me even now is when we had the live show. Yeah. And we had that one fan who came from, I think, Georgia. Shout out to her. And how she told us, she was like, where I live, there's not that many Latinos. Yeah. And like the things that I've always thought about, I've always felt lonely. Yeah. But I listen to you guys in my car and I feel like I'm not as lonely anymore. Yeah. And I think knowing that she was also like 18 years old. Yeah. And she came to LA and that was the first time ever. And she was traveling by herself just to come see us. I always tell that to my sorority sisters because I'm like, that's what motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing, because it's genuinely like we're giving something to people. Yeah. Whether it's really small, and like for us, I mean, for me personally, I still see it as something small, right? Like we're still a very small podcast, right? But I feel like knowing that's still a motivation for somebody else, like who probably might be going through the same thing you're going through, right? Yeah. Like, I think that's what motivates me. And I think, again, going back to, like, my sorority sisters is, like, seeing the support system that I have through them. Because a lot of them are also advocating. Like, right now, currently, everything that's going on San Francisco State, like, everything that is currently going on with the world, they're going to protest. They're going to these things where, like, I think is very, like, brave of them to do, right? Because, like, for me, that's, like, something that I've always been fearful of, like, doing that. But the fact that they get to do that, and the fact that they, like, go to these different places, and, like, a lot of them are, you know, doing, like, criminal justice, social justice, and all these things. And I feel like that's what's motivated me. And I think for me, I think it's just, like, finding those people. Yeah. And the fact that I was able to find those people is what motivates me to kind of keep going and doing what I do. Of course, you're gonna find the occasional people who are the opposite end, right? Yeah. But then that's where I learned where it's like there's people who just don't deserve your time. Oh yeah, definitely. And there's people that don't deserve your presence, because you see the value in yourself of, like, you know who you are, and you know that you're this very great and big person. And there's people who just don't deserve your time, or don't deserve you. Like you have so much value in yourself. And I think that's why for me, like, that's what's kind of kept me going all the time.
Yeah.
Shout out to my sisters.
Yeah, the kitty agrees.
Because I know some of them.
Shout out to your
listen.
brothers too.
She deserves my time.
The kitty's letting us know that we're over our limit.
Are we?
She's our stage manager. She's letting us know that
Hello, Michi.
we're going a little long,
She's the Michi.
but she's also checking in that we're chilling.
She's the podcast. No, yeah. I mean, I agree. Because like I said, I don't want to sound, what's it called? What's the word? Like, invalidating to the people who do support us. Like, we don't see you or anything like that. Or just in general, like
I don't think you're coming off that way.
No, yeah,
but I get
yeah.
I get.
Or like, also I have to like check myself and be like, you know, there also is maybe like a colonial aspect of trying to be like somebody's savior or like come in and like help people. You know, there's all these like complex and
I think it's just in our nature to also just be very caring and like considerate to people.
Yeah, I think it's just like, damn, bro, the devil worked hard when he made the hate emotion. Like, why is hate so potent?
Yeah,
why is it such a?
Because I always felt like for me as a woman, like how people speak on, like it's in my nature, right, to be caring and like be like this motherly, right? And I think for me, that's why. It's always interesting because I felt like at some point in my life I started becoming very like compassionate and like empathetic to people, that like when I felt that you were hurting, I would hurt and like I would cry or I would feel your emotions. Like to me the way I felt it was that I can feel exactly how you're feeling. Yeah. And like to me, that first scared me because I was like, how is it that like I can feel your emotions?
Am I a superhero?
Yeah, because I generally kept feeling like
I feel it strong.
Like sort of like witchy vibes. Yeah. Where I was just like, how like because it was very powerful and like it still is, and I think that's why for me it's like so emotionally draining. Because I can feel it everywhere. Like I can even feel it through my phone, which is why like I tell you guys that I don't try to be on it or like go on the internet because of everything that currently is going on, right? Yeah. And so then for me that just becomes so emotionally draining because like I watch people and I see them talking, right? And they're talking about like how sad they are or like how like the things that they're going through, and I'm like I can feel that emotion. Or like when we talk about women and like what's currently going on, right? And how women are like, I like the story, because especially like when the whole like I think Kamala thing was happening, and she brought on people who talked about how they were, you know, sexually abused. Yeah. And I'm just like it's like I put myself in them and I'm kind of like them and I went through that experience, and that's why for me it's just like so like.
Oh, for sure.
Powerful.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I think that's why for me I've always been like, I think currently now it's just always been like that. And I think that's also important to have, right? Because some people don't have that anymore. Like how you said, like people get to this point and they completely just lose it. So they completely lose how to be compassionate, how to be sympathetic, empathetic, like all those feelings. Like they completely lose it. Maybe they still have them. They just don't show. They just, you know, shove them away. But I think those are important things to have. For sure. And
like I said, there's no bookend to this. The
journey continues.
Well, I think it's hard because I think when you feel this emotion, at least this is how I feel about it, is like you kind of want like a bookend,
that made me feel better.
Someone will tell me something and I'll snap out of it. Yeah. Or like I'll read something and then that'll be the answer that continues to, but it's not. Like there's just isn't like, and that's just the difficulty of what this is. Like I was talking to somebody who was saying like, well, I was explaining to them and they were saying like, well, yeah, it's like your values. It's what you believe. It's what you hold near and dear to your heart. It's what you come to become as a person. In part, it's who you are as a person, right? Like your values, what you stand up for, what you believe is right and wrong, what you want to advocate for. That's integral to a person. And when your reason for that kind of gets shattered, it's such a hollow feeling, you know what I mean? So, yeah. And that's difficult for what it leaves you with, you know? Yeah. Did I unplug something?
You guys heard that too?
Yeah. Oh, it came back.
Did you hear that, Julie?
Yeah. Maybe I stepped on something?
I don't know what that was. So okay, so that wasn't just me.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I thought it was just my
Well, it's back,
headphones.
so we're
It's
good.
back?
We're good. No,
Alright.
yeah, well, sounds normal to you.
But yeah, yeah, it does. But
Okay.
I guess I'll take that as a sign to let's start wrapping
The
this up.
government or some
Yeah.
shit was.
But I mean, no, yeah, I think this was a very productive
I
conversation.
do think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you know, like I appreciate you sharing.
I
which is
appreciate
good.
you sharing, Brandon.
TY.
I appreciate you sharing.
TY.
I think that was needed.
Yeah, hopefully for some people they can relate. But you know, like I said, it's difficult because it's like we're like a linear podcast. It's like we try to do like a bookend.
Yeah.
So there isn't one, but like I said, I think it's
The
just
bookend is that you're still breathing, and so there's plenty of time for some shit to happen. You never know. Maybe tomorrow you'll step on a fucking leaf, and
I think the way I like to see it is that where I was going with it is, as a person, you're always evolving, you're always changing, you're always forming new identities, new beliefs. So I think the way I'm trying to frame it is, because this part of me left, or I don't feel like an access to it, it's now up to me to fill it with something else.
Yeah.
And I think when other people feel that way, it's very important that you choose to fill it with something, or you're careful with what you fill it with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to try to do. Like I said, I've been trying to read. I'm considering going back to school for like indigenous peoples or Chicano studies to kind of embrace that kind of more. But I do think when this sort of thing happens, you have to talk about it and believe at the very least that time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
You know, you'll find something that will hopefully kind of fill it or replace your reason for doing it. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I have.
I like
you know?
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But
Julie,
anything else you guys want to say?
No.
any
I feel
closing
like-
statement?
No, I
Yeah.
feel like that's good. I think for the most part, like how you said, I think you'll find like I
Yeah.
found my people,
Yeah.
know? and I think that's something that kind of will keep you motivated.
Yeah.
Because
for
I
sure.
think, again, I know sometimes it's hard to like find your place or like
Yeah.
feel like you have no place,
Yeah.
but there is,
For sure.
and like I'll be that example that
Yeah.
like you'll find your
Yeah.
place and it's okay. And I think for the most part, you know, what do they say? What is that thing where they're like, not everybody who's lost is wandering or whatever? Like,
Not everybody who's lost needs to be found.
yeah.
I never heard that. I like that. I'll take that.
Yeah, because I guess my final thing that I'll say is that like I think I was struggling a bit because I like you said, I think it's the colonial aspect of like I want to say something to you to help you because
Yeah.
you're my dearest friend and I've known
Yeah.
you since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I obviously empathize with you and I
Yeah.
feel for you and I wish there was just I could just give you something to like not necessarily make you feel better,
Like
but just
save. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And so like I guess my final thing is that like I just my thing is like I just wish I could do more for you.
Yeah.
But like all I can tell you is that at the end of the day, like Julie seems to find comfort in community,
yeah.
and I know I do too because I like loneliness. So
Yeah.
I hope if at most you can't find community in our podcast, you can find it in me and my sister.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I thought what you were gonna do, which I thought was funny, is you were gonna like, but at the end of the day, everything's cool. I really
No,
thought that was
now's
cool.
not the time or place.
I was like, is he gonna do it right now? I was like, that's ballsy.
That's a last year thing.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
We don't do that.
Have we not done
anymore.
that since last
I
year?
don't think we've done that since last
No,
year.
I'm telling you, that was a last year thing.
it's
We
so
left.
we
it.
left that. Yeah,
We left it in the
We left
past,
it in
bro.
20
We gotta come up with a new one.
To
Pero todo
chido.
es chido.
To do chido.
Pero
do
todo
chido.
chido.
Yeah, to each their own. To do
Todo
chido.
chido,
some
güey.
shit, I don't
Yeah, you
know.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, to each their own.
To
To
each-
do chido.
Okay.
Cornball. But before we send y'all off, thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing us out. Thank you for supporting us, everybody who watches. And a special, special shout out to all of our patrons. Shout out to Yoel, Eli Quintero, I Am Potato Tot, Stephen Carbajal, Carlo Corazon, and Altadena Will Rebuild. We really appreciate all of your patronage. If anybody is looking to support us in any ways, Patreon is a really fantastic way to support us. If you like our videos, you like what we do, that's where we get all of our support. So if you can, please consider. Thanks again for everybody who watched, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.